Okay, that sounds good.
Yes. Hello. Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. Your host, JP John Paz. With me is a very special guest, Mr. Technical himself, one of the all-time greats, Mr. Barry Horowitz. Barry, welcome in. How you doing?
Oh,
Are you
John,
freezing?
thank you. It's an honor to be here and looking forward to the interview. You there? Okay,
Yep.
we're back.
Yes, you froze for a second there. Yes, we're back.
Okay. Did you hear everything I said?
No, I actually missed a part of that. It for some reason froze. It cut off
Oh,
a little bit.
I just, okay. I just said thanks for the wonderful introduction. It's an honor to be here. I was really looking forward to this interview.
Now, first, I just want to start out because you have a new book, "Wrestling Is My Gimmick." So, what's
Yes.
the latest on the new book, and of course, my life on the wrong side of the three count? Yes, there it is. What is the latest on
Yeah.
the book?
It's well, latest on the book. It's been out a month. It's number one wrestling book on Amazon for the last few weeks. And I'm proud of it because I think other wrestlers and wrestling fans have been asking me between that and how come you're not in the Hall of Fame? It gets tiresome, but I understand their frustration. And I completed one of them. And I'm really proud of Wrestling Is My Gimmick because it's humble beginnings. I mean, right from the get go, different matches, different things in the ring, things with my family. I mean, there's some personal things, but I didn't go full blown personal because it is personal. That's my life. And I'll keep it, on a up to 10 is the most. And I would probably go only to five. But yeah, different stories, different wrestlers' outlooks on traveling with me and wrestling me, and so forth and so on. It's not a get even book. It's not a stooge book telling on people, mentioning names. The book is about me. If I mention other names, that's because they've enhanced my career. They've helped me, and they were actually a good a good a good friend in the wrestling business. I watch how I say friend. So uh friends you can count on, you can count on one hand with a few fingers left over.
Very true. Now, why aren't you in the Hall of Fame? I know people always say, why aren't you in the Hall of Fame?" Like, do you think you should be in the Hall of Fame?
To a point, I think I do. I mean, there's a place for everybody in the Hall of Fame, John, in wrestling. But I know it's pro wrestling, but I like the way the Hall of Fame is in NBA and especially the NFL. You stick with your product. Um, I don't know why certain people are there when they owned a hair company or they're a rock and roll person or they hit a baseball far or this and that. I would stick to wrestlers if I was running in it, and I would go by from first match to last match because people nowadays, John, they're smartened up more. They're smart marks. Believe me, they like myself and other people like me, like a Brad Armstrong, Tommy Wildfire Rich, Sam Houston. The list goes on and on. Tom Zink, Rick Martel. That why not talk about them and just because some people get bored just the main event and some of your main events. I mean, they're good and they're great wrestlers, but some of them are limited and whatnot. So they like wrestlers that are multifaceted and multi talented. And yes, I think there should be that you could, you try all these other gimmicks, these so-called billion-dollar companies, and they'll put on this and they'll do that, and it's didn't make much sense at all, and it lasted 2 weeks. But you won't put an enhancement in the Hall of Fame, a segment. I mean, it's so simple to direct. You do it before, you do it after, you do it on camera, off camera, and you get five guys, they each get 10 minutes. Why not? People love that, believe me. But they won't even experiment with it. But you'll experiment with a lot of ha ha and gaga that makes about as much sense as a one legged fireman kicking down a screen door in a submarine. And it lasts a week. 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I could go on and on with some of the programs and angles that have been done. I mean, that is the wrestling business, but when you put a lot of money and you could have put a better piece of talent or this or that or went further with it, I don't know why people are wasting their money and time.
I feel like everybody knows you, obviously WWF, WCW, but especially WWF because you wrestled everybody. You were on TV a lot. You were on TV more than most wrestlers, I would say. So it's like, why
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you be, or why wouldn't you be considered? You know what I mean? Like you've been around the block. You literally wrestled almost everybody.
You know what? I don't have an ego problem with that. If that's the way they want to be, I have much more bigger fish to fry, John, than worrying about the so-called Hall of Fame. Okay, the credibility aspect. I'm concerned about my career now as far as my meet and greets. I do wrestling seminars, and now, of course, the book, then the audio book. What I my biggest legacy, my thing to complete my legacy, I would love to be a coach in a wrestling organization. I would love to be back, back and help, not take over, just help with a match, help with an idea, correct something, you know. But wow, I guess there's much better than me because they're losing the boat, not hiring me.
What about the WWE
That's not
Performance
brag.
Center?
That's just fact. That what's that?
WWE Performance Center down there in Florida.
Oh, that's right.
No,
One, the, the one that's 45 minutes from my house. We don't want to do that, John. It makes sense.
hey, you could do
And
it. You're
I
Mr.
don't even know half
Technical.
of the coaches there. I don't know half of the coaches there. I know a few. I could out teach them. Now,
When
some
you
maybe out teach me. I don't care. I don't have an ego. I just want to add to it, help the product. I have a passion. That's what you need to worry about. Can I pass a drug test? Am I going to show up on time? All the stuff that I've always did in my career, I would apply it to coaching.
any sort of
So
relationship with Shawn
they're
Michaels or
missing a
Triple
boat.
H?
They really, really are.
As far as Shawn Michaels and Triple H, any sort of
I know
relationship with
them,
them?
but I guess not good enough. They know me. They know me. They know me well. I've had Triple H tryout match on TV in '95. I've worked with Shawn numerous times. I worked with Shawn and Marty for the Southern Tag Team belts that me and Chick Donovan had in the Memphis Coliseum against their AWA belts. So that's the first time I actually met Shawn and Marty. That was '87, Memphis Coliseum.
Wow, I didn't realize you had Triple H's
So
tryout match either. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah. There's been numerous ones, but if I'm not mistaken, I was the first. I can't don't bet on that, but if it wasn't, I was in the top 3 or 4.
You
So
pretty much wrestled. I feel like I feel like you almost wrestled everybody there at
so
one point,
anyway,
which is
yeah.
pretty
I mean,
crazy.
yeah. I probably wrestled everybody, but and that's in a. There we go. Back. I don't know what that's about. I've had that happen on numerous podcasts.
Yeah, so you've said you wrestled everybody but Hogan? Was that what you said? Everybody but Hulk?
You there? Yes, I did. Yep. Yeah, that's normally because he's at the main events in the live shows, Madison Square Garden. If they do it at TV, they always do it a dark match with Hogan. With somebody like, uh, you know, I'm just trying to think. They'll we're spinning again. There we go. So one of the Bolsheviks or somebody like that. I was never involved in that. A lot of people weren't. So
When you originally got to WWF, how did you get in? Like, how did you break in? I know you wrestled at pretty much everywhere else, but how did you break into WWF?
Well, actually, I got myself in. I mean, I was wrestling in Florida in the Indies, trained by Boris Malenko and family, and I worked for various companies, indie companies, if you will. And then finally, it was time to leave Florida. So I don't know what made me. I had some friends up north, and I called Gorilla Monsoon at his house back in the day when you use a landline, and I could get him on the phone. Remember now it was $1 million company when I was there, and Vince Senior was alive, and I basically BS'd my way into a tryout. And they said, come to TV because they ran TV every 3 weeks, Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Hamburg, every 3 weeks. And in 2 days, I would wrestle about 6 times on TV. I did that for about a year. And then Vince Sr. sent me to Crockett Promotions Mid South in Charlotte, North Carolina. Best move of my life. I was under contract full time, 2 years there, and learned from the best, drove with the best, wrestled the best. I mean, that territory is huge. Now, remember now, North, South Carolina, and parts of Virginia. So, like I said, wrestled the best, listened. It really helped me because I was really supposed to go to Portland, Oregon, John, and it was filled up because Jimmy Snuka was supposed to get me in there because he was, big shot, and I guess Vince Senior. But that was filled up, so now I went to Charlotte, and it was a great move. 2 years I stayed there, solid. I was wrestling at least 4 to 5 times a week, traveling, go to Canada on the plane once a month to Maple Leaf Gardens, and it was a humbling experience, but it really got me polished with high spots, knowing the ring, knowing people like Johnny Weaver, Jimmy Woogie Man Valiant, Rufus R. Jones, Sonny Fargo, of course, Wahoo, Flair, Bob Orton Jr., Steamboat, Youngblood, Rotundo. Everybody was there. And I was driving with different people. Sometimes I drive alone, but all I would do is just listen and learn. Watched a lot of film, watched a lot of tapes on different Georgia wrestling, Florida wrestling, world-class wrestling out of Texas. And Crockett had a strict policy. If your first match, second match, third match, you stay to the end and watch every match. I was 21 years old. Where am I going? I'm riding with the referee. He's on last. I'm either riding with Tommy Young or Sonny Fargo, and I'm with those various gentlemen. Sometimes I drove with Johnny Weaver and Hot Rod Piper, and so I would just listen and learn. You learn a lot when you listen. You're not a know-it-all like I hear some guys today. They know everything, So they don't know everything.
Very true. Very true.
It's not all about climbing through the ropes, snatch a headlock, one tackle, get it again. It's much more than that. It's learning how to call a match as a heel, how to enter a ring, how to work properly. I mean, there's a lot to it. Psychology, learning your holds, your moves, your bumps. There's a ton of work into it.
When you look at WWF, when I look at your run, so it's like, okay, you're doing enhancement stuff sometimes, but the feud you had, I guess you call it feud because you guys had so many matches, but you and the Blue Blazer, Owen Hart, wrestled everywhere. There's an awesome match that's available from the Z channel. I don't know if you remember that one from Los Angeles, from the sports arena over there. It's like a 20-minute match. I mean, you guys just had awesome matches everywhere. MSG,
Yep.
just awesome feud. What was it like working with Blue Blazer, especially at that point? He was so young.
Oh, yeah. Just when I first started with, I was a little bit older than Owen, and he came from a territory that, his dad owned and he was being pushed. So Owen actually matured working for the he was wrestling me, and we were learning off of each other. And Owen went from a good worker to a fantastic, great worker. And I'm not saying that just going to say that. I'd say that if Owen's right in front of me or Owen is in heaven, that's how I would say that. I mean, Owen and I'm going to use me because I wrestled the most and I've owned it and I could say it and I will. Owen and I, especially Owen, he was doing holds and moves and flips and things, cartwheels off the top ropes and bouncing off. They're doing it today and thinking, oh, this is brand new. No, guys, I did that with Owen Hart 25 years ago in St. Louis, in Los Angeles, in Madison Square Garden, in pay-per-views, in your house matches, on Monday Night Raw. I can go on, and on.
Unbelievable, some of the innovative stuff he was doing then. But you guys, it was just the matches were great. It was, first match, second match. It wasn't like a main event, but it was just like, man, you guys stole the
Yeah.
show, all those
Yep.
cards.
Yeah. Well, see, yeah, just doing my, not trying to outshine nobody. I am not going to put a muffler on my work, a damper, a plug. It's the way I was taught. Unless they're telling me, to do this and do that. I mean, they're paying me. Believe me, if you're not going to listen, you're going to get replaced or fired or whatnot, So I do what I'm told, not because I'm scared. That's just my work ethic. This is my dream. I'm not going to blow it over not listening or being a mark or, it's so. Oh, you there?
Yep. Yep.
I don't know why that's going in and out.
Yeah, crazy. The internet is crazy. You never know what
I don't know if it's it. Yeah, I only get it only a couple of podcasts. It'll do it a lot. It'll never shuts down and then it comes back. So I don't know what's going on. I know my end is pretty good. So where are you at right now?
I'm at home. I'm in Asbury Park. Your
Oh,
old
that's right, Asbury Park.
Your old stomping grounds, yeah.
Old stomping grounds. Yeah. Asbury Convention Center. I've had some good matches there.
Yes.
Is that still there, the Asbury Convention Center, and do they run shows?
No, nobody runs there anymore. They haven't ran a show there in years, but it is still there. It's I don't know if they're renovating it on the inside or what, but nobody's ran it in a while.
Man.
I'm actually shocked about that.
They need to run that in the summer.
Oh my God, yeah. And I know promoters call them because I know I have a couple of friends that are promoters that called them about running a show there, and they're not open for business.
That's insane. Getting back to our subject, John, here's the deal with enhancement. I'm going to explain this. I'm going to try to.
Yep.
It's a long process, but when you got a guy, a put-over guy, I call him, that's all he's there for. Think about what I'm saying. He has a great job at Amazon or IBM or Macy's, whatever you want to call it. He's in decent shape, but he's not in great shape. His ring attire is okay. You could tell he's limited in the ring, and he's there for that reason. Okay, I think those days are gone now, but you flop around. You could tell your friends at the water cooler Monday morning that you worked with a superstar or this and that. That wasn't my goal. Now, not everybody in pro wrestling could be the lead singer of the rock group. You can't. It just won't work. It can't happen. You're going to have, I've seen unbelievable, fantastic workers. Why aren't they getting pushed? Well, there is sometimes a problem. They're failing drug tests. Their work isn't really that good. They're coming in late. They're hard to do business with in the ring, physically and verbally, in and out of the ring. There's always something. But when you got a guy like myself, I think I'm checking the box for positivity and passion. What are you going to do? So here's the deal with me, what they did. You could push me or you can't. If you push me, maybe I'm another superstar, but you still have to have a guy like me, a utility worker, a carpenter. You have to, because I don't care what kind of worker you are. You're Bret Hart, you're Ric Flair, you're Bob Backlund. I don't care who you are. If you don't have a good dance partner, a good opponent that's competing, it's going to look like hell. And you don't put asses in the seats looking like hell. It just won't work. It's a train wreck. So in my case, I could go out there, pull 10, 12 minutes. Next night, I could be defeated in 3 minutes. I'm not complaining. It's not like I don't care. This is my dream. And if I did care and something happens, the pecking order on the totem pole. So they're going to come to me or somebody of my nature. So they figure, well, we're not pushing this guy. Maybe eventually we do, but we got a good utility guy because I'm important in that ring. I really am to this day. You got to have people like myself. Enhancement, not these wrestling jargon, stupid ass words that they use. And people all think, oh, I know the words behind the scenes. They think they know what's going behind the curtain, but they don't. And they won't unless you walk in my boots for 30 years. Then you could talk that way. Until then, you're talking shit and you're a wannabe. I don't go up to Tom Brady and say, I could throw a spiral. I did that in high school. It's embarrassing. It's degrading. And it's most of all disrespectful to a GOAT, to the icon. And I'm using him for an example.
When you say enhancement, do you hate the other words that people say? Like, like if they say
Yeah,
jobber or whatever. Yeah.
It's wrestling jargon. And it sounds like, diminishing, degrading. Hey, jobber. Or hey, I hate to say this, but you call her, hey, slut, hey, this, hey, that. But if you said a woman of the evening or a whore, something like that, sounds a lot better than that. It's just, it's degrading. Yeah, it's stupid. Everybody thinks it's funny. Well, they're ignorant. I can take a joke, believe me. I can be ribbed. I don't put over ribs. I don't care about that. I care about getting booked and get in the ring and have a great match and get the match over, which not a lot of guys know how to do that. Getting the match over. Do you know what I mean by that, John? I don't mean get it over quick so we could run to the clubs. If I'm out there with I'll use a different analogy. Let's just say I'm out there with I like to use Owen for an example. Let's use Skip. And I'm out there at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee, and it's packed. You want to get Skip over as the heel. You want to get Barry over as the babyface. You want to get Danny Davis or Earl Hebner over, or Joey Morella as the lead referee. And you want to get everybody from ringside to the nosebleed and cheap seats involved in this match. Now, you got the sage stat. What's next? Tell a good wrestling story. Work a hold. High spots. Fancy moves. Fancy suplexes. Some amateur wrestling. Some pro moves. Everything needs to be solid. Punches, forearms, European uppercuts, drop toe hold, drop kicks, standing drop kicks, double underhook suplex. Go on and on. That's in my eyes, in my forte, that's a complete wrestling match. Go for the submission. Go for the hold. And I don't mean those sloppy covers where they go like this or there's a gap that much. Why wouldn't you kick out? You grab that and hook that leg tight. And none of this, it's all about this. This is a shoot hold in here. You see somebody grab a headlock and they grab it like that. It should be like this. To each his own. I'm going by the Malenko way. And that's why I was taught. I was taught by the best, by the way. The best. Because after I graduated from Malenko School of Wrestling, 18 months, I saw other people train and they're good and stuff. But I see people now, and some people don't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch. They don't know what certain words mean in the ring. They don't know how to get in the ring. They don't know how to throw a punch, a forearm. Some people are versatile. I like to change it up always. And I like to be that versatile worker. I don't like to be stagnated or complacent. Same match always. Same this always. Once in a while, you do want the same something of a trademark. So that's how I look at it. But yeah, I've been trained by the best. And now I say the Malenko way, but now it's the Malenko Barry way when I teach students.
Yeah, he passed it on to you, and you got to pass it on to them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, John. When I went into this mattress warehouse, Condemned in Tampa, Florida, not too far from Tampa Stadium, it was 40 degrees in the winter, which in Florida, that's cold, John, and 104 in the summer, and a restroom. That's it, John. First of all, I was taking bumps on judo mats for 6 months. Okay, then I graduated to a 20-foot and 16-foot ring. Okay, and it's nothing but warming up after a part-time job, training with the weights. Then Malenko has you warm up for at least an hour. Then you wrestle, and then you're taught different things. But forget about promos, forget about bleeding. It has nothing to do with the foundation of pro wrestling. If you're a pro wrestler, the foundation is to learn all of that. The rest, it's just like building a house. You're in the basement, you go to the next room, the second room, the third bedroom. Finally, you're at the attic. Okay. The same with wrestling. You learn how to wrestle, amateur style, shoot style, pro wrestling style. And then when you get on the road, you get polished. What does that mean? You're traveling. You're traveling with different guys. You wrestle different guys, John. You're gonna learn different styles, different cultures, and that's getting polished. And then you learn your promos. Then you learn other aspects of the game. But for right now, what gets you booked and gets you over with is a good, solid wrestling match. Learn how to get in the ring. Learn how to do a good, tight lockup. By the way, speaking of that, I got to give a big shout out to. I'm sorry, I always go blank on this, and then if I say it later, I remember. But I got it. Stevie Richards. He has an awesome podcast that he critiques wrestling maneuvers and whatnot. And he's put me on there 3 or 4 times. So I have to give him a shout out. I haven't talked to him or seen him in years, but he's got a good podcast. And I'm glad that he picked me to be on some of his things, perfecting the knee lift, the Russian leg sweep, the lockup, the headlock, the punch. He goes into graphic detail, dissects matches. You need to check it out sometime. It's very, very interesting. So shout out to Stevie Richards for giving me props for that, and other people too. I'm just not trying to get myself over, but that was nice of him.
Yeah. Hey, you're Mr. Technical, right? I mean, who would you
I'm
consider
Mr.
better than?
Technical.
Yeah.
I
Who would
am.
you consider to be? Yes, a pat on the back. Yeah. Who would you consider to be like the best? Obviously, you're
Oh
Mr.
wow.
Technical, but who would you consider to be the best?
I don't know. There's a lot of good Japanese wrestlers, technically sound. There's a lot of good all over the place, all different. All your organizations always have a good technical wrestler that does it all. He's got the look, he's got the promo, he's got everything. It's hard to be that kind of wrestler. Think about it. If you're a hardcore wrestler or you're a giant or you're this, it's one dimensional. But to be a versatile technical wrestler, because last I heard outside of Madison Square Garden, when it says wrestling tonight, that's what it says. Wrestling tonight. Doesn't say anything else. Now, nothing against other matches. That's everybody's forte. If you're women's wrestler, great. If you're midget wrestler, if you're a tag team, if you're a 6-man, if you're, like I said, hardcore, there's nothing wrong as long as you perfect your craft and art. Mine is Mr. Technical, the technical wrestling heel. And I enjoy it. And I think I do it pretty decent.
Would you put Bret Hart up there?
Yes. Owen, yes. Malenko's, yes. Guerrero's, yes. There's much more. I could throw at Brad Armstrong, Scott Armstrong, Tim Horner, Sam Houston, Brady Boone, Brian Pillman. Wait a minute. Did I say that right? Brian Pillman. Pillman. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought I said his name, pronounced it wrong. So there's much more. Tom Zink, Rick Martel, Tony Gurria. Wow. There's a lot of technical wrestlers. I just named off a few. I don't mean to diss anybody by leaving their name out, but yeah, there's a lot.
Now, as we hit the wind down here, we head towards the finish. What is you got going on next? And obviously, plug your book again too. But what else you got going on next, as far as some of your plugs?
Well, first and foremost is my book. I'm really looking. I'm seeing. I'll be going out and signing books at the meet and greets. I sign it, and you could also take a picture with me, yourself, and the book, and on your phone. And that's an added. I'm throwing that in. It's a really. I'm proud of the book. Next, of course, I would love to be a coach. Otherwise, I do my meet and greets. I do my 3 to 4 hour seminars live in a ring. Different indie groups fly me in. What else? I'm involved in Good Times Guaranteed, GTG.com, with my business partner and agent, Richie Sorrentino. He's the king of credit. And that's a live wrestling auction every Wednesday. I'm involved in that. Of course, YouTube, Pro Wrestling Tees, Cameo, Facebook. Wow. I think I've hit almost everything. YouTube. I did say YouTube because there's a ton of things on there that I didn't realize. Different little things. There's really this cool thing who I don't know the gentleman, but I give him props. He's got this thing about my career, and it's called Barry Horowitz, the Unsung Hero. It goes on for about 5 minutes, John, on YouTube. And this guy really is a historian, studied my career. It goes from almost the beginning to the end in 5 minutes. So it's fast forwarded, but he's got a clue, definitely. I was very proud of that. If I ever meet this gentleman, I will thank him wholeheartedly. I mean, incredible. Unsung hero, Barry Horowitz. So, and that's everything going on. I'm semi-retired, so I'm spending a lot of time with my family, do the old errand running and stuff like that. I'm in the gym anywhere from, a bad week to me is 4 days, so 5-6 days a week of training. I could train different now that I'm out of wrestling. Plus, I have some injuries I have to work around. So, and I have still been involved in some wrestling, but I don't think anymore. My last match was on Impact 2 years ago against Johnny Swinger. I had a hell of a hardcore match, which Mr. Technical never does that. First one in his career. We were the main event for Jersey Wrestle Pro, New Jersey. 30 minutes of Joey Janela and Barry Horowitz. This is all on YouTube. So it's amazing that I could wrestle hardcore when I never did it in my life, but you pick up these things watching different people, different ECW matches and stuff. Not my forte at all. Not at all. And believe me, it was hardcore, but not hardcore as much as really the hardcore icons of this sport. I didn't even touch their circle.
Are you retired?
Just like they don't touch my circle in technical wrestling.
Yeah. Are you retired officially?
Semi.
So you can come back to the ring.
Possibly. Have some injuries to mend. And if they're there, I would make an appearance. I would do things. It's not going to be the Barry Horowitz of 20, 30, and 40 years old where I'm leapfrogging, drop kicking. Basically, all my matches with Owen. You're not going to see that. I can't do that right now. I wouldn't want to anyway. I've shown the people I have nothing to prove. Most people just want to see that I'm in decent shape and I pat myself on the back and, greet them at the meet and greets. They're really good, the fans. All my fans, I howled #1 standard with all of them. They're all respectful to me. I don't care if they buy anything or not. They're respectful. They're good fans, and I appreciate my fans. So it's
I suggest everybody get your book as well.
Yeah. The book. Yeah, finally. And then next will be an audio book. And hopefully I will be a coach somewhere that I could add some flavor to a new kind of stew. We'll see what happens.
Nice. Wrestling is my gimmick, my life on the wrong side of the 3 count. Get it on Amazon.
Yeah, get it on Amazon. And I got to give just another more props to Jason Norman, the author, and of course, McFarland Publishing Company. These are #1 in my book, both of these people. And of course, the #1, the forward, everybody, hey, who's Joshua Horowitz? Well, he's not my father and he's not my brother. He's my #1 son. So, and he's a smart one.
Love that.
Yeah, read that forward by him. It's awesome. He's also my producer and director of my cameos. He's involved in my bookings. He's involved in somewhat of my career. The other part is Richie Sorrentino, the king of credit.
Yes, pat on the back there. Barry, thank you so much for all the time today.
John, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And hopefully we could do this for the third time. This is the second time for you and I, John.
Yes. Yes.
So I do want to leave you with this. Whenever you see me lose in wrestling, I thought about this. It's not real, John. But when you see me win, oh, it is real. It is very real. And remember, at the end of the day, I'm Mr. Technical and you're not. And it's always better to be better, not bitter. And then give yourself a pat on the back.
Yes, love that. Barry, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Have a good night. Appreciate it.